with Ubuntu on the phone and on the tablet is a welcome screen. The welcome screen is uniquely generated from the data that you've created about yourself on the device. So how much you've tweeted. For another person, it might be how many Facebook updates they've had, or it might be how far they've walked. As you can see, the difference between the tablet and the phone is that the tablet is a full multi-user environment. So for example, for a family or for an enterprise environment where you need different people, you need to share a device, this is very useful. I'm just going to put the tablet to one side for a second and focus on the phone. The other thing that's unique about this interface is that it doesn't rely on any buttons, hardware or software. So we use the left edge to bring in the launcher, which brings us all our apps. Today, I'm just going to start from the home screen. The home screen is exactly the same on both devices. Just a minute. And as you can see, the interface scales very nicely across both screen sizes. The home screen itself is here. It's like a summary of the things that you should care about on your device. And ultimately, you'll be able to customize it to suit you. So in this instance, it shows frequent apps, it shows your favorite people, it shows people who've recently been in touch, recent music, etc. We have another one that just focuses on apps, which shows running apps, frequently used apps, apps that are installed and ones that you might want to install. And then there's the video one. The video one has a nice interface for discovery, as well as simply to find what you're looking for. And you can look at content that you don't currently have installed, as well as content that you have installed. So for example, The Hobbit, I might be interested to rent it or buy it, and I can do it straight from here. Similarly, something like this one, I can go and play it straight away. I'll show you that in a minute, but for now, I'm just going to finish showing you these screens. So we've got the video one, the apps, the home, and then the people one. We all know that different people in our lives, we tend to contact through different means. So you might always have to phone your mother, but you SMS your friend or whatever. So we like to think of people just through a hub, and then you can choose how you want to talk to them. Maybe with Evan, I just mostly Facebook him and phone him, so that's what I have in his contacts. From the right, I basically swipe through the history of the apps that I currently have running. This is the media player, which is playing that Sintel movie. So I'm going to pause it because it's noisy. And then I have a notes app. We have a combination of native apps and HTML5 apps. So something like Facebook is absolutely fine to be an HTML5 app, but something like the gallery, we prefer, it's much nicer if it's a native app. We can provide a much richer user experience than we can just through HTML5. And we've taken the trouble to design a nice interface that makes your photos look good. Even doesn't matter how bad a photographer you are. So if you look at it on the tablet, you'll see that it scales, again, it scales very nicely. So, and you have a couple of views. So you have a quick grid view if you just want to look at it, if you quickly want to scan through to a specific photo, or you can go back to the immense view, which has this lovely layout. One of the main principles of our user interface is that we don't let the UI elements clutter the screen. So if you're looking at your photos in full screen, you can there's no UI elements in the way, but if I need them, I can just bring them up from the bottom. So here will be my controls. Even more than that, we also have this interface, which gives us access to more functionality in every app. So if I open it up here as well, I can go and let's say, I can type in here that I want to crop, and I can bring up this cropping interface, which is quite nice for a tablet. So using this HUD, as we call it, I can actually give the device a much more complicated, more complex set of functionality. So I can play with the saturation and the contrast, the brightness, whatever I might want to do. So that's I like to think that's quite cool. So anyway, we can move this out the way. From the top of the screen, we have these indicators that give us access to various settings on the device. So date and time, battery life, where I can actually adjust the brightness to help my battery last longer, network settings, sound, and the messaging menu. The messaging menu is more than simply a notifications area, because it doesn't just tell you that you've missed a call from somebody or that you've got an SMS. You can actually reply straight away in line. So that's quite cool. And if you're really not interested in calling Otto back or telling him what you want to do, or Bill Filler, you can clear him out of the way. So it's quite a rich piece of functionality, and it doesn't require you to always go and launch an app if you're in the middle of looking at your holiday photos or watching a movie or whatever it might be. If I just quickly want to go back to the home, I swipe from the right and it takes me directly to this app screen, so I can always go back to where I started. I think I've already shown you that the right gives you the history. So we've done now the full circuit around the devices. One of the interesting differences between the two, so this is the Notes app running on the phone. On the tablet we have a thing called the side stage, which obviously on the phone isn't necessary. So on the tablet we can have exactly the same app running on both the phone and the tablet in the same size screen. So if we take something like a browser, it's actually quite useful. So I don't have internet connection, but luckily I prepared some cache. Oh, they're already there. Oh, I shouldn't have changed it. So if you just bear with me a second, I've got a cached page. So you can imagine that when you're shopping on your tablet, which is one of the things most of us do.
We got the same message usually.
The Mobile World Congress has no internet. That is the lesson that we're all learning here. We should have. So I'll bring back my gallery. But you can imagine that if you were shopping, you could be looking at things and making some notes of what you're looking for. So, and through this site again, you can launch. So it's quite nice as well for developers to be able to develop a single application that's going to run across both devices. One of the important things to remember about the Ubuntu operating system is that this is the same operating system running on both devices. It's not a phone version and a tablet version. It is the same code base. So from a developer app story, that's quite important, because it makes it very easy to transition your apps from one to the other. In fact, in most cases, like in this scenario, there's almost, as I understand it, there's nothing to do. I'm sure there's something to do. At least typing runs on both. But yes, so that's quite a unique part of what we do. I think I mentioned before that we have HTML5 apps and native apps, but both run as equal citizens on the device. So you can just see they're given the same status. There's no special status for one versus the other.